Okay, look, if you liked this movie or love this movie, just don't watch this review because I don't care if you liked it. It doesn't matter to me. Or if you loved it, that's fine. But I just have some things I want to say. And if you liked it, it's not going to be worth. There's no reason to hear me say this, you know. Star Wars fandom. Okay, I'll do a brief. I always thought Star Wars fandom, like, just really didn't like uh, the prequels. So they were like, they hated them, And I always thought, like, oh, it's because they don't like the way George Lucas is doing it. And then The Force Awakens came out, and then The Last Jedi came out, and then Solo. And people just all like different stuff in Star Wars or have different ideas of what they want Star Wars to be. And then they hate the stuff that isn't like what they want. I really hated Solo. I thought Solo was just bad. I was like, oh my God, this is so bad. This is really bad. There was some, Woody Harrelson's good. Donald Glover is very good, for sure. He was my favorite part of that movie. And wow, okay, so basically, I just realized there's just a huge divide among Star Wars fans. People always, really since the special editions came out. So we've had 22 years of bickering. Now we have Disney's final in a trilogy that I really like the first two movies a lot. Like The Force Awakens, people like it's not original, blah, blah, blah. I was like, it was great. I loved it. I thought it was good. I thought it set up the characters well. The Last Jedi, I loved a lot. I saw that movie a lot in the theaters. I thought it was really good. I really liked, I felt like the idea that Luke didn't want to be a Jedi made sense that that's kind of why the world went to shit. And so for her to just, for Rey to just show up with a lightsaber and then, Jesus, I'm so sorry about this. Look, it's a better movie than this review, The Rise of Skywalker, but it made sense to me that he was like had to be convinced to come back, and that's why he abandoned post. Otherwise, why would he just be waiting? I didn't watch The Force Awakens again. I just watched The Last Jedi again, and I'm really glad I did because I'm really never going to enjoy those movies in the same way that I did after watching the third one. And I understand that like they didn't know before Return of the Jedi, Luke and Leia were sisters. They changed things in the series, and I get that. I also think that Palpatine coming back was just really dumb. Just so stupid. He was so stupid in the movie. He was I mean, it's a stain on the Ian McDermott's portrayal as that character. He always knocked it out of the park, and he did fine. It's just he didn't have anything to do. He's just like, kill me. I'm on this metal thing. Kill me. I'm back. Hey, guess what? I'm back. It was just so dumb. Kylo Ren should have become the Emperor. He should have become the evilest thing that was set up in The Last Jedi very well. And basically this movie, all it was look, if a lot of the people that hated The Last Jedi, not everyone, but a lot of people, there was like a racial component to why they didn't like the movie. There was a whole scene where a black and an Asian person had a whole scene where they went to, and I know people that don't like that sequence that aren't racist, but I also think a lot of people were racist. They didn't like that there was an Asian woman in Star Wars, and they didn't like that whole plot thread. And so that's it. What's interesting to me is that J.J. Abrams made a love letter to people that hated The Last Jedi. Whereas I don't think that The Last Jedi was a hate against The Force Awakens at all. I thought it was an evolution. Like, why would Luke abandon the Jedi? That's something J.J. Abrams wrote, that he was gone, that he didn't want to be found, that all the Jedi are dead. That's something J.J. Abrams came up with. And Ryan Johnson had to be like, why would Luke do this? Because he failed. Because he almost killed. Dude, it's fucking, what he did. It was bad. It was awful. And so it makes sense that he went into exile. Whereas I don't think it was to say fuck The Force Awakens. I think maybe the breaking the mask thing was. Dude, the Rise of the Skywalker was the only Star Wars movie I just laughed a lot in since Return of the Jedi. There's just moments in Return of the Jedi like the no, and just moments that I just laughed. And when Kylo Ren started putting his mask back together, I laughed. I was like, it looks so stupid with all the red things connecting it. It just looked so ridiculous, and it just made me laugh, and it just seemed like a petty child being like, I'm going to put my mask back together because Ryan Johnson didn't like my mask in the voice. And poor fucking Adam Driver had to be in that stupid mask again. And this character that was like self-actualized in the second movie all of a sudden becomes like this wimp and puts the mask back on. And like the first opening shot of when you see the Knights of Ren, and it's like a helicopter shot around them all. That's so stupid. It looked so dumb. It looked like just like a bunch of goth LARPers being like, let's go out in the desert and make this shit. It just looks so stupid. And look, I'm a huge fan. I was a huge fan of The Force Awakens. I don't know if I am anymore because of all the things that it led up to. There's no way that... Look, Palpatine, in the comics, it suggested Palpatine created Anakin inside of Skywalker, sorry. It suggested that he put... And then in this one, it's like... So, first of all, Rey and... If that's true, Rey and Kylo are fucking... cousins, so they're cousins making out at the end, which is okay, whatever. That's Star Wars-y. But why didn't... Like, the idea that Palpatine had sex is so stupid. I think that's ruins his character in so many ways. Like, he didn't have sex with Shmi to make Anakin. He used the Force and tried to make the most evil thing. Why didn't he just why isn't Rey just that again? If you're going to bring Palpatine back and you're going to have all that stuff, why have her have parents? Why couldn't her dad be the son of Palpatine, but he was just made again? So the idea that Palpatine fucked and had intimate relations, and I guess you could just like been like, oh, I fuck you, and now I force choke you. I bet he force chokes while he fucks. But, the idea that he was having sex and stuff, I just think the idea he was intimate at all with any person is just a mark against his character, and it's never set up that he had kids. If he did, then the Resistance and shit would have watched. I guess they did. I guess they watched him. I guess they knew Rey, whatever. It was so dumb. It wasn't set up at all. There's no way she was originally going to be Palpatine's kid. That was so stupid. That was so dumb. First of all, Obi-Wan going, Rey, here's your first steps. That was in your movie, J.J. Abrams, and you're just like, what? Oh, Force Ghost didn't raise Rey? All of a sudden, why not? Like, did the Force Ghost raise Rey? You suggested that in your movie, and you don't do anything with it. And in your movie too, the guy's like, but there was a girl, and then he chokes him, and he brings the guy close, and he's all, what girl? And you're like, oh my god, what girl? And Kylo's like, what girl? And then in the third one, he's like, no, actually, you are Palpatine, not just the blah 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 blah. He would have told her in The Last Jedi, like, you are a Palpatine. What it should have fucking been was that some rando person, just like you or whoever the fuck on Earth, was born and killed Kylo. Maybe turned him good at the very end. And something happened where he died. Oh, and the fucking thing where he was where Palpatine was electrocuting all the ships, and then he like doesn't use that same force against Rey. Like why it's just like it was so dumb. Oh, you like Star Destroyers? What about 1,000 Star Destroyers? Oh, you like Death Stars? What if every Star Destroyer was a mini Death Star? It was just like, dude, it was a love letter to people that hated The Last Jedi. And The Last Jedi was a good-ass movie. And it was a movie that was like, hey, let's not treat you like an idiot. And let's just, and there's things that I don't think are great about it. I think, like, all that Poe stuff is a mess. I think it just doesn't really make sense in a lot of ways. Like, I think that it's very true that, like, Finn and Poe were going to go to Canto Bight, and then they just changed it and added Rose in, and then added the whole thing where it's just like, that whole thing where it just makes no sense. Poe was just a cunt in that whole movie, and then like at the end they're like, I love this little cunt. You're like, follow the cunt. And like, what? He got everybody killed in that movie from like the opening scene the whole time, and there's never a part where he's like, man, I was a dick and I need to not be a dick. He's just like, he stole like everything, dude. Whatever. So I'm not saying I think the Last Jedi is perfect. I do love it. I do love the part where, when he said, see you around, kid, and there was never a scene where the Force Ghost appeared to Kylo. It's like, whatever. I guess, like, you don't have to follow up on everything, but he did follow up on the stuff. He just didn't do the stuff J.J. Abrams wanted, Rian Johnson did. And it's just crazy, man. I'm so glad I watched The Last Jedi one more time. Because now I don't know if I'll ever watch the sequels ever. I don't know if I'll ever watch any of those 3 movies ever again. I know that's like hyperbolic, but I think it's just so stupid. Nothing is set up. Nothing makes sense. And Kylo Ren could have just been become the Emperor himself. Like the last Skywalker could have just become the Emperor and gotten killed by a nobody, or they could have figured out that the whole Jedi Sith thing, something different. They could have figured it out, like I thought the Rise of Skywalker, like they were gonna be like, Skywalker is the new Jedi. They're a Jedi that can fuck, like, I'm not a Jedi, I'm a Skywalker because we can fuck. Because the Jedi, like, all Anakin wanted to do was fuck Padme, and they didn't let him, and now he killed every little kid. He killed all the younglings, and he killed everyone. All because he couldn't fuck. And, whatever. But that's just the way it is. And basically, like, every single thing. It was, dude, seriously, not that many people hated The Last Jedi. Maybe 25% of the people hated it. They were just really loud. So you just made a movie for the 25% of the people that hated this movie. And probably hated The Force Awakens too, because people hated that movie. They said it was just like a rehash or whatever. But basically every scene, like everything in that movie, like, oh, you didn't like how Luke threw his lightsaber away? Well, in this one, Rey throws it away and Luke catches it. Oh, I caught it, but last time I threw it away. Symbology. It was so dumb. That was so dumb. Luke Skywalker's last scene in the Star Wars saga is so bad. Like, it is so awful. He's a Force ghost. That's something I thought about my whole life and thought would be so cool. And he doesn't like have anything super profound to say. He's like, look, I was wrong. I'm a Force ghost now, and go do your thing. So the grabbing of the thing, that was a thing. That was like a wreck, like a, oh, you hated that, but you're gonna love this. I bet like people cheered, yeah, he grabbed that. Meh. Um, Kylo Ren not being redeemable. His mom being like, yeah, you're right, Luke. He's gone. And in this one, she's like, actually, you know what? I'm gonna die to make sure he's not gone. I guess so stupid. And all the scenes with Leia were cringeworthy. It was super awkward. They should have just had her die in the scroll. It should have been the catalyst of every event in this movie. Instead, they just used all these deleted scenes that made no sense and had her and gave her no agency. Like she says nothing. It's just obviously all the lines that they just wrote a script around all the lines they had left, and they could have just done one and had it, whatever. It could have been just so much better, and like it was just so dumb. And I get like, to me, that's kind of why I wasn't excited about the movie, because I knew like Leia was gonna be a huge part. I knew, and I did love that, seeing her use a lightsaber for sure. That was amazing. I thought that was cool. I thought it was cool how they showed her giving up, like why she gave up and all that stuff. But that scene of her and Luke fighting for sure was like, as far as what the fan service I wanted, I got it. But I didn't want 1,000 Star Destroyers that could all blow up planets like the Death Star. That makes no sense. And now that the technology's out there, that universe is just fucked, dude. I mean, they're gonna destroy all those things. I mean, it was so dumb. That was so stupid. If he would have lifted up one Star Destroyer and been like, this one is the bomb, dude. This one is like a mini Death Star. I've been working on this motherfucker. You thought the second Death Star didn't work, but now I'm just like gonna do this. I'd be like, that's pretty cool. And you would force lifted it and been like, that's pretty cool. I don't know, man. The scene where they all came, that made no sense. In the Last Jedi, they didn't come and there was like 5 ships. In this one, they come when there's like a gazillion ships. I guess because Luke did what he did. Yeah, okay. I'll buy it. I'll take it. That's cool. Luke did what he did, inspired the universe, and they came. That part was cool. I'll give you that. Exhausting. Okay, Finn and Rose. J.J. Abrams, just because a lot of racists didn't like the Finn and Rose thing, didn't mean you have to make Rose the worst character in the third movie and make her do fucking nothing. Dude, in The Last Jedi, she is willing to die to save Finn's life, and says they kiss, and I guess that she kind of rape kissed him, but she says like, we're not gonna like survive by killing what we hate, but by saving what we love. She's willing to die to save Finn's life. She loves this guy. She believes in him. And in the third movie, he's all like, I gotta go with this black chick because only black people should date and each other. Stick to your kind. We got the message, racist. And also, I gotta go blow up and sacrifice myself again, just like last movie. And Rose is like, cool. I'll see you later. I guess I won't act anything at all like the character that was created in the slightest. I guess I will do not. And every time Lando showed up was cringeworthy. But that whole thing with Finn and Rose like really pissed me off. Like, I get that you if you don't want to play it up, she's not. You wanted to Jar Jar like de-Jar, like how they Jar Jar Binks like barely in the other movies, like whatever. But the idea that like you just destroyed this romance just because people didn't like it, like it was a vendetta movie against Rian Johnson. So I don't know if Rian Johnson should make any more Star Wars movies, because why the fuck would he? Why would he want everyone to hate like his? Like, I mean, have all that kind of shit and then have the whole company. Like, I don't think anything Rian Johnson did was to shit on people. I don't think he made Luke old to shit on people. I think it was because that is what made sense to the character. Otherwise, he would have kept training Jedi and there would have been a thought. J.J. Abrams established that there were no fucking Jedi. So why were there no fucking Jedi if Luke was out there? whatever. What was he gonna do? I guess he could have started he could have gone. She could have gone to the island, and there was like a million Jedi there. But he's all this grizzled old man. I mean, what was he gonna do? He had to make it make sense. But the whole Finn and Rose thing, that probably pissed me off the most. Just really just shit on everything they did. They didn't have to have another Canto bite. They could have just, she could have been that person at the end. I mean, it made no sense. I mean, it really was like, oh, black people should date only other black people. Don't mix race up in Star Wars. That's fucking wild. It's a love letter to people that hated The Last Jedi. And I think a lot of people that hated The Last Jedi didn't love The Force Awakens either. I think they just don't like what Disney's doing. So it's just interesting to make two movies and be like, hey, let's make a movie for the people that hated those last two movies. I'd be interested if anyone liked all three. Not super interested if you hated The Last Jedi. Don't really care. I've heard all the arguments. And I guess I'll add some, I'm sure a lot of people are thinking this same stuff about. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to talk about with this movie. It was just such trash. It was just so, yeah, just her being a Palpatine was so stupid. I mean, if Palpatine would have just made her, I would have been like, cool. But he's like, oh, fuck, you're my granddaughter, blah, blah, blah. I loved kids. Palpatine loves kids. Is there anything else? I mean, I knew it was shitty like the first 10 minutes in. I'm like, oi, this is rough. They are just banging it on. No one ever seemed like friends. Everyone's just fighting, yelling at each other, getting mad. Dominic from the fucking Lord of the Rings character made no sense. That was just so weird. He's just like, hey, I'm like, they just said this thing like, it made no sense at all. Like the movie made no sense. It really just didn't. Kylo Ren going there and being like, I'm gonna kill you, Palpatine. He's like, no, I've got lots of ships though. And he's like, oh. And there's like he should have just become the bad guy. It makes sense that a Skywalker would become the most evil motherfucker. And at the very end, when he's about to kill everything in the fucking universe, Rey gets to him. And then has to fucking kill him. And that's the end of that. And then they fucking... I mean, I guess that's like Dark Phoenix, but... Then blah, blah, blah. Anyways, that's my Star Wars review.